All right, let me try to get in this video quickly here. It's afternoon over here, Sunday afternoon. Some company is on its way, so I sure do know how to time them. But got back from the print shop a little earlier and just thought I would wait no longer to take these a couple of pages here out of this here brown envelope. So this should just be a quick one here, but I'm going to talk about a couple of projects. One that's a very short-term one, so I'll probably do it soon. The other one I would not hold my breath on. It's probably going to take a while before I get around to it. But so what I did earlier at the print shop, and they came out a little smaller than I wanted them to. I had trouble printing them, I don't know, formatting and printing and things like that. But I still, I took a little extra time. I might even zoom in on these a little further here, a little more. I took a little extra time. These are for Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. And I wanted to make nice team sheets. And if these are, once I go over the teams especially, if these are anything that you would like, of course, I'm using the Excel template with all the information that Mike Owens provides, decades of NHL teams and seasons in there. So I have a couple of pages of those here. And on this first, what I was going to say there was that if these are something that you would like so that you don't have to make these teams yourself, my upload, I'm at my limit for uploading on Delphi, so I can't upload the PDF. But if you send an email simply to hockeyunreal@gmail.com, I can reply with these, just, request in the email that that's what you would like, or even just put right in the subject line that that's why you're emailing me. That's completely fine. So where was I? So the first one, it's going to be a short term. It's going to be a 4-game series that I will do with a couple of different games. Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey is obviously one of them. So in my head, at least, I have a couple of desktop champions from 2021, and they've been talking trash to one another, and they would like to sort of have a showdown, I guess, to see who is the champion. I mean, there have been a few champions here on this desktop, but here for 2021, two of my kind of longer term projects. This one actually started in 2020, but it finished earlier this year. So it's the 1981-82 New York Islanders, and I even have, I don't know if I should zoom in further or just hold it closer, I'm undecided. I even have imprinted on this card, so this is a very custom one. I have here, of course, what they did in the NHL that season, first in the Patrick Division, and they won the Stanley Cup. But then I also have here Shootout Hockey, League of Champions and Presidents, Season 2 champions, because, of course, they defeated the 77 Montreal Canadiens after the flukiest of fluky games. They were down 3-2 in the best-of-7 series. And after the biggest fluke ever to tie the series at 3 in Game 6 in Montreal, they went back to Long Island for Game 7, because they did finish ahead of Montreal in the standings as well, where they whooped Montreal in Game 7 in a game that is available, much to the chagrin of this Habs fan, on camera on this channel from a while ago. The 83 Boston Bruins also shocked and upset an incarnation of my Montreal Canadiens, that being the 1970 Montreal Canadiens, in my Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey, as it says right here, Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey Redemption League Consolation Cup is what I decided to call that one. So Consolation Cup champions there. Again, hopefully you're able to see that easily enough. I realized that the font is a little smaller, but I wanted to get all the information on here. And again, where I'm just playing on a desktop and not really a full tabletop proper, compact is the name of the game, really. I think that these, if I turn them sideways, they're a little smaller than shootout cards, but not by a whole lot. Like, just to compare, like, because your shootout card is more, vertically standing, but or laid out, I guess, more vertically laid out. But the other, and to speak of the Redemption League, actually, that's a good opportunity for me to segue or transition into the next part of this here, and this will take me into this over to the second page as well, which is that the Redemption League, I have here V2 for Volume 2 or Version 2. This is going to be the second edition of the Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey Redemption League. The first version of that had teams ranging from 1970 to 1995. There were 12 teams, and the 83 Boston Bruins emerged as champions. So in case I didn't talk about this enough, what this will be, this 4-game series, I have these for Shootout Hockey, the great teams of the past. I have the 83 Boston Bruins. Of course, I did a head-to-head 2 games total goals, Dave Gardner Classic with the 83 Bruins. They lost to the 71 Bruins in that one, but they did put up a good fight in that little mini-series. And so now they're going to play 2 games with Shootout Hockey. The first 2, I think I'll do games 1 and 2 with Shootout Hockey. And then games 3 and 4, they will play with Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. And again, it's going to be a best of four total goals. I shouldn't even call it a best of four. It's going to be a head-to-head total goals series. So most goals scored, or as goaltender Dave Gardner might like to say, least goals allowed for that series. Back to the Redemption League here, Volume 2, Version 2, V2. This is going to have 6 teams from the original 6 that had really good seasons and either, disappointed in the playoffs or whatever. Basically, 6 of the best teams. It was a little harder to find good ones for Boston and one other team. Surprise, surprise, it's New York. But I have the 56-57 Boston Bruins. I was undecided. There was another one, actually, another contender for Boston. I want to say it was 49. And I think they even went a little further in the playoffs in 49. But for points per game, and of course, Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey, I'm pretty sure the formula weighs the regular season more heavily, if it weighs playoffs at all. I mean, there are more games to go on in the regular season. Boston played... Yeah, that would make sense because the playoffs, some teams don't even play in it. So, of course, it's the regular season. What am I thinking? Anyway, third in the National Hockey League. They lost in the Stanley Cup Final. And they had more points per game than the other Boston Bruins team that I was considering. So 34, 24, and 12, 80 points there, and 56, 57 there for Boston. The 66, 67 Chicago Blackhawks. I keep trying to find championship glory for these guys on this desktop. They, of course, technically, I guess they were the champions of my King of the Hill format replay for the 66-67 NHL season for the game Hockey Bones. But then they had to go and blow it in a one-off against Toronto, a one-off best of 7. That, again, can be seen on camera here. And from a while back. But Chicago, again, outstanding. 94 points in just 70 games, first overall in the NHL that season. But they were upset in the semifinals by, again, in real life, also the Toronto Maple Leafs. So that should make this to be of little surprise. Here are the 4 teams that comprise the remainder. This is going to be a 6-team league. It's not going to be a 12-team league like the first Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey one was. And as I said earlier, I'm in no hurry to get this one underway. Of course, I have the 24-25 NHL season replay that's going into playoffs now. And at the rate that it's going, a WHL project from 63, a Western Hockey League, a senior Western Hockey League, project, kind of a condensed replay of that season, the 62-63 one, that is not that far off from playoffs, although the Paradise portion of it will probably slow that down a little bit. Those are longer games. But I have historically the 50-51 Detroit Red Wings. I double-checked and confirmed this. They were the first team to actually eclipse the 100 points mark in a season, which, given that there were no 3-point games back then, has made all the more remarkable. And they only played 70 games. So in a 70-game season, this Red Wings team had 101 points, but then they lost in the semifinals and the playoffs. So there is a redemption story there. And these all say Redemption League V2 at the bottom of them. So that's the thing, if you request them. Sorry that I have this personalized, customized information on these Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey cards. The 46-47 Canadiens, like the Boston Bruins, I was really torn between a couple of editions of the Montreal Canadiens to use for this project. The other one being 55, where, again, they excelled in the regular season. 55 was 1 year pre-Montreal dynasty, and they just disappointed in the playoffs after an outstanding regular season. I could have gone the Geoffrion and Doug Harvey route and those guys, had I gone with 55 and Jacques Palan. However, I decided Bill Durnan, who won a Vezina in, I think, every season except for one, even more outstanding than Ken Dryden, though he played a couple seasons fewer. Should double check on that, actually, because Dryden also quit to be a lawyer there as well. So anyway, in the heart of his career, really. So, but Bill Durnan won a Vezina trophy. It's funny, like when you think of Canadians goalies of all time, I think the big 3 you would say would be Dryden, Plante, and Patrick Waugh, with Carey Price being sort of a modern wing of that. Bill Durnan, I know it's going back a while, but anyway, I digress like I do best. I decided for 47, I guess, for a few reasons. At least the punchline was still intact in this one, though Elmer Lack missed like half the season, and it showed up realistically, actually, in my replay of this season. He had 31 points. I was either 30 or 31 that he had in real life, and it was like right pretty much bang on that in my replay of this season. So this one here, I didn't actually note here, but they were the champions. They lost in the Stanley Cup Final in real life, but they actually won the Stanley Cup in my full replay of this 46-47 season, did the Montreal Canadiens. So that was another thing that sort of tipped the scales for me to choose the Montreal Canadiens for that season. The 57-58 New York Rangers, not going to lie, to say that they are an underdog in this would be a bit of an understatement, but still it was a good season for them. 32 wins and 77 points in 70 games. So I think points per game, this would have been their best, at least for the 20 original 6-era seasons that are covered with the game Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. And then they lost in the semifinals and the playoffs. And again, the Leafs actually I went back and forth between 60 and 61. I ultimately decided for what I think is actually the stronger regular season team. And again, this predates only by one season, the Leafs' 3-cup Stanley Cup run in the early 60s. So this is the 61 Maple Leafs here. They finished with 90 points in the regular season in just a 70-game schedule. Another thing, too, is I wanted a balance. I wanted the 40s, 50s, and 60s represented. So what I have here, I have one team from I balanced it about as well as I could, I think. One team from the 40s there, that being the 47 Habs. The first season available for Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. And then the 51 Detroit Red Wings covering the early 50s. Back to the mid-late 50s, or up to the mid-late 50s, you have the 57 Bruins, the 58 New York Rangers, and then the 61 Maple Leafs and the 67 Chicago Blackhawks. So I sort of like the way that balanced out too, the way that everything evened out. So yeah, the cards are a little on the small side. Maybe if I did it over again, maybe I'd get them printed on like A3 paper or something, so I would have bigger cards to cut. But other than that, I'm quite satisfied with the way that they turned out. I'm paranoid that there's a mistake on here somewhere, that I've got like a team's record wrong or something like that. But if you happen to notice anything, if you happen to spot anything, a couple of you are really good at that, actually. You comment specifically just to point out mistakes that I make, but it's all good. And please do so as well. I'd rather have it pointed out than not if there's an error on any of these cards. So anyway, I was just, again, I me being geeky me, I spent a fair bit of time. I'm not anything like any kind of graphic design artist or whatever at all. So for me, because this does not come to me naturally, I spent, a fair, probably an embarrassing amount of time in total. I don't know, I wasn't looking at the clock, but, a fair amount of time yesterday sort of tinkering with these cards to get them the way that I wanted to, so that they were practical and decorative. And, I guess, goes with the Rinks video that I did recently, just kind of getting into the immersion and the look of things a little bit more, maybe the visuals of those. So anyway, there it is. This is my again, to recap, I'm going to do a 4-game series, 2 with Shootout and 2 with Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey. I'm going to bill it the clash of the desktop champions, because this is a desktop and not a tabletop proper. So this will be the clash of the desktop champions between the 82 New York Islanders and the 83 Boston Bruins, who were eliminated in the semifinals in 6 games, and the conference finals, I should say now, because newer eras, not the original 6. The conference finals, yes, they were eliminated in 6, but that was the 83 New York Islanders, not the 82 edition. And it is Boston Bruins on my desktop, which I think specifically because I am a Habs fan, the Bruins do tend to excel. They tend to exceed expectations and just outperform or overperform, really, on my desktop. So this one should be pretty interesting here when I play it out. 2 games with Shootout Hockey, and then the games 3 and 4, the other 2. And again, I keep saying best of 4. It is kind of a best of 4. Head-to-head, 4 games, total goals, most goals wins between these 2 franchises. So, and then at some point in the future, the Mike Owens, probably, again, this will be like the 20-ish, 30th game season. I'm not going to do a full 70 games. I don't like the idea of doing like a best of... It's funny, I wonder how this would fly today, actually, if teams play one another like 14 times in the regular season and then had a best of 7 in the postseason. I'm not sure how well hockey fans of today would like that. So they will not play as many as 7 games against one another, maybe not even 5 games against one another. I might do similar to like with the Western Hockey League, shave it down a bit, do a 20-ish games and then best of 5 in the playoffs, top 3 or top 4 make it into the playoffs. Because I'm not planning on starting this one anytime soon, I have a little more time to think about it. So